The sandwich is good. Oh, my phone. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Freddie, and I am a mainline flight attendant based in the West Coast. And yeah. And I am coming to you live from my layover hotel in an undisclosed city to protect my safety. I just wanted to hop on here today and film a cute little Q&A since I am just a little bit under the weather, and I have been for the last few weeks. So I haven't necessarily been able to vlog as much as I really want to, and I haven't really been able to take the time to kind of like go out and do stuff, which I feel like is a little bit more interesting for the vlog and a lot more interesting for me, of course. So I'm not just sitting in my hotel room doing nothing. So this week we're gonna sit in my hotel room and do nothing, but with questions. I went ahead and went on my Instagram and had my followers submit some questions for me. Some of them just being like hot questions for a flight attendant here. I literally said, ask me anything that comes to mind. I did also ask if you guys had any questions for me, since specifically in my situation, I used to be a regional flight attendant before I came to the main line that I work at now. And so if you guys had any questions on those types of things, I'm happy to answer a couple of those here for you. So let's get into it. You can see I have my phone here with all my trusty questions with my Pokemon card. It's what is it? It's a Wugtrio EX, if you're into that. So I really like my Pokemon cards. I think it makes my phone case look a little extra different. And so I know exactly which phone is mine, because not a lot of people do this too. But if you do, you should. And send me a picture, because then we can be twinning. Okay, let's get into it. First question says here, do you ever get scared up in the air? Me personally, I've been flying a really long time, even since before I started as a flight attendant. My dad used to work for SkyWest, so we used to have his benefits like growing up. So that's been since like 2006. And so I've been flying since I was a little kid. I don't know if I can find a picture, insert here if I can. I don't really get scared just because I've been flying for so long, and like I feel like I've felt all the sensations of flying and I've heard all the noises, and I think for me, I'm so desensitized to a lot of that environment that it's not very scary to me. I also find a lot of it not very scary since I'm kind of well educated on a lot of how aviation works. I was very interested in being a pilot as a kid, so I learned a lot about aircraft, a lot about kind of like the ins and outs of operation, especially through my different jobs in the industry so far. I haven't just been a flight attendant, I've also worked in like reservations and just kidding. I've only worked in reservations and as a flight attendant and as a non-route traveler for many, many years. So for me, a lot of it is not scary. That's just because of a lot of exposure to the industry and a lot of the exposure to the things that I see all the time. So for me, not scary. If you guys want me to kind of like break it down for you to make it not so scary, look up the Jello theory. That really helped me a lot, because I did have a little bit of a fear of turbulence as a kid. Like I'm talking, I was that kid that would grab onto the armrest until my knuckles went white, and that's just because I was terrified. But nowadays, it's not so scary for me anymore. I mean, I go on roller coasters, I do dumb things, so turbulence in comparison, not that bad. Not terrible at all. Okay, so next question is, how do you keep a personal routine when your schedule is all over the place? It sounds kind of dumb, but like maintaining a similar routine, even though I'm kind of like all over the place, I just make sure I have like a list of things that I'm doing and kind of checking off that I have to do every time I get to a layover or every time I travel to base. I always make sure that there's like minimum, like I make sure I wash my face, do my skincare, make sure I get some form of activity in, and if that's like walking around or even going to the gym. It can even be that for me sometimes, but a lot of the times it's just making sure I get a lot of my same things done that I know I need to get done within the day. So kind of maintaining some form of normalcy, even though I'm getting called and I can be up early, up late, all over the place with my schedule. I just need to make sure that I get my creature comforts in and make sure that I have the things that make me feel at home. So a lot of the times that's like making sure I have my phone charged and like my headphones so I can like watch YouTube or any of the shows that I normally would be watching. I do keep up on social media very often. I'm very active with a lot of my friends and family back home, so it does help me keep like a close network with a lot of the people that I actually care about. So that kind of helps me maintain my routine and make sure that I kind of keep things in place, even though my schedule is literally like, okay, wake up and 3 in the morning, and then next thing you know, it's going to be a red eye, and then everything's all over the place. But I at least make sure that the things that I know I want to get completed out of the day are done. So skincare, delicious. Makeup, all that. I just make sure to do all the things that I want to do within the day. So I had a few people asking this. Do you always work with the same / mostly the same crew, or is it different people every time? No, I don't work with the same crew every single time. It's mostly different people every time. I think so far in my airline right now, we mainly work in crews of 3 or 4, and I think I've only worked with one person on multiple trips so far. So I don't really switch. I don't really work with the same crew a lot of the time, so it is nice to see those people that you've gotten to meet while you're flying and kind of just be like, oh my god, hey, like, how are you? Catch up and see how they've been doing with like flying and how their life is going. Like, usually you have your little jump seat therapy moment, and they're talking about their dog or their kids or whatever, and then you can see them and be like, oh my gosh, like, how is your dog doing? Oh, not well. Oh, so sorry. But it's normally really good, and it's normally good to catch up with people that you've flown with before. A lot of the time, you will be together for like 3-4 days, depending on like what your schedule is like. And so you can be with that person for a few days, but other than that, you're not really working with those same crews all of the time. We do have a system called buddy bidding, but for me, since I'm on reserve and since I'm new, it's not super feasible to kind of buddy bid. You would have the same reserve days, but it's not likely that you would get scheduled the same flying, just because a lot of the time for reserves, they'll be pulling 1 or 2 of you guys for a trip, and often not like a crew of like 4. So I don't really work with the same people all the time. It's usually new faces, new personalities all the time, and you just have to learn how to adapt. So that's something that they look for in interviews, and I mean, I think it's something that I do well, and that's why I have this job. So, period. Be making new friends all the time. So, it's all my girls. Hi. Okay, next question is asking, when I'm not in Salt Lake City, how long do I stay in places, like in Puerto Vallarta, for instance? I did post on my Instagram story that I was in Puerto Vallarta, and if you watched my last vlog, then you probably saw that trip as well. A lot of these trips, it can kind of vary based on what the operation needs. So a lot of the times you can work like an early morning flight, arrive somewhere in the afternoon, and then you can stay for just a couple hours and then work another flight out later that night, or stay for almost an entire day and then fly out around noon that following day. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah. So layovers can vary. They can be anywhere between 10 to like 30 something hours, depending on how the airline needs those crews to be scheduled around. And a lot of the times that can kind of just depend on where the location is, especially if it's like super far from where you're based. You typically do stay a little bit longer. So it kind of just depends on what kind of flying is needed from the company. A lot of the times we do have like FAA mandated rest rules, so it does have to be beyond 10 hours typically, but I typically try to schedule longer layovers because it's more fun and you have more time to go explore wherever you're going. So like for example, this last week I was in Washington DC and I went to go catch up with Keegan. He's my bestie, insert pic. And we went to go catch up and just like walk around DC a lot, and I still had time to kind of like wander by myself as well and like have some me time in my hotel room before kind of like resting and getting ready for the next day. And I also had some time to go to pick up a trip in Chicago, which was about 24 hours on a layover there as well. So I had similar situation, enough time to go see my friend Jordan, insert pic, yeah. And we had some time to kind of catch up and have some fun as well before I had to kind of like work the next day. So it's nice to get these longer layovers because A, you get more rest as a crew member, and B, you usually get more time to explore wherever you're flying to. So it's not a lot of the time where we'll fly there and then just be there for a couple hours and then leave. So I do find that that's kind of like a common misconception, is people are like, oh, are you just going here and then going right back? And it's like, no, we just worked 6-7 hours on a long haul flight. Like, we're not going to just hop right back to base. Like, we need to rest too. Like, the crew is a little bit delusional after long services like that, especially. So yeah, no, we're gonna stay in the city for a little bit. The next question says, do you get free food a lot, or do you have to buy it yourself? So yes and no. A lot of the times we do have really generous passengers. Shout out to all those passengers that gift their crews, and they do give us like snacks and stuff. And occasionally the company will give us food as well. Like, there are also instances in which like perishable goods that are left over are just going to go to waste. So that my company in particular does allow us to take those items. I know it's different between each of the other airlines, but a lot of the times we don't really get like free food like that's catered for us. It's not necessarily part of what catering is kind of planned for, at least at my airline. So I know some airlines do like crew meals and stuff like that, especially if you're working like longer internationals and all that. But my airline, as of right now, we don't do that. A lot of the times we do just buy it ourselves. That's why a lot of flight attendants, including myself, do meal prep. I typically do meal prep for the amount of days that I'll be gone. So if I know I have like a 4-day reserve block coming up, I'll usually pack about 4 days worth of food. I'll usually do a little bit under what I would be eating. It's not like I'm packing 3 meals per day in my lunch bag, because I know that at some of the layovers I'll want to go eat, or I know that like I'll have an opportunity in base to go and grab some food. Since I'm a commuter, I typically do try to meal prep because it saves me money. So for me, that saves a lot of time and headache. Okay, we got a spicy question. Trigger warning, spicy question alert. Someone asked, when you host, which bed is it? The one closest to the windows or the wall? I'm a lady. The windows. Next question says, how's Mainline's flight attendants? Are they sweet? Yes, and this actually came from one of my regional girlies. Mainline flight attendants are fantastic. Given I have only about a month's worth of experience to kind of go off of, but so far my experience with my mainline, all of the flight attendants have been nothing more than fantastic. They've all been very generous souls and very, very kind to help me out, even though I'm a newbie to the airline, but they're very, very sweet. A lot of them do have similar situations to my own where they're commuters, and a lot of us kind of share tips and tricks with stuff that we have going on. I do find that a lot of flight attendants in the industry in general are just fantastic people, and a lot of that does have to do with the fact that our job is just centered around people. So like, it kind of doesn't make sense if you're not a people person, because it's like, this is not really the right industry for you if you aren't. So I do love my mainline girls. Shout out to all my regional girls though. Y'all really be doing the most, because we were pulling those 5-6 leg days and, you know, doing it with a smile. Shout out to all you guys. I love y'all, my regional baddies. I hope they can bridge the wage gap between mainline and regional at some point, because it just isn't fair for all of us doing the same exact thing. So that's that on that. Some of y'all aren't ready for that conversation, but you know who you are. Okay, next question. Are mainline managers more chill than regional? To be honest, in my own personal experience, I think I don't have enough information, to be honest. I'm just about a month in, and I really enjoy my managers in my base in particular, but I do think it's a case-by-case basis for everybody, especially because a lot of the managers can depend on where you're based. With my experience so far, all of the managers have been fantastic, so I do find them very chill as well, just like my regional girls at my last airline as well, so I don't have any qualms. I do think it's harder for me to run into my managers these days at mainline, but that's just because I fly a lot more than I used to at regional. I found myself sitting a lot more often at my regional in particular, but it also, again, just depends on like if you have a ton of flying, if you're getting assigned a lot. My airline does allow us to self-assign, so I do find myself self-assigning a lot of trips. So in April, for example, I've been flying a ton. I've worked a bunch of 4-day trips, and I haven't really had a bunch of time in my base to even like chit chat with my managers, but all my interactions with them so far have been very, very, very positive. So happy to report on that. Next question asks, how are the passengers on mainline compared to regional? I do think it's kind of hard to compare the two. It's kind of comparing apples to oranges, to be totally honest, mainly because my regional is not affiliated with the mainline that I currently work with. A lot of the times you can have kind of similar passenger overlap if the regional that you came from is also affiliated with your main line, which is not the case for me. I did come from a different airline group. So in this case, I think it's a little hard to compare, but comparatively, in my experience, I have found that my mainline passengers have been a lot more kind of easygoing, a little bit easier to kind of not necessarily deal with, but interact with for sure. It also may just have to do with the setting as well, because I mean, it depends on like your base as well, because people can be traveling for different reasons, and if your base has more people that are more like business travelers or more like leisure travelers, it can kind of change your passenger demographic and therefore your kind of passengers that you're interacting with. So I think it really just kind of depends, but for me, they've been a lot better, to be honest. I do find a lot of my passengers, especially at my main line, they're very, very, very loyal to the brand, and they really love what we have. So I think I find them very, very pleasant, and they find us fantastic too. So love my passengers, love y'all the most. Oh, someone asked, why am I the hottest FA ever? The beauty comes from within, darling. It's all in the personality. I don't know. Sure, I do skincare too. I'm just hot. I don't make the rules. You can also thank my mom. Period. Thank her jeans. Period. I don't make the rules. So the next question asks, what's your favorite airport slash snack from that airport? Favorite airport? I might need to think on that. I'm biased because I spent so much time in Chicago. I really loved Chicago, but I do think Chicago does have its faults. I really do love where I'm currently based in San Francisco. The terminal, especially, we're based in Terminal 1, and the Harvey Milk Terminal in San Francisco is so pretty. And it's got tons of great lighting, fantastic space. Like, you don't see a lot of passengers kind of like crowding around the gates because there's enough seating areas for everybody. I really do love the San Francisco airport. I think it's really well laid out, and I do find that it's like fairly efficient for what it is. I actually really do love San Francisco. My favorite snack from San Francisco? Ooh, good question. From San Francisco in particular, I have been going to, unfortunately not available to the public, um, to the Employee Cafe, and they have a very, very good mushroom Swiss burger. And I have been eating that a lot more than I'm proud to admit. Snack wise, I also do want to go back to my last base in Chicago. If you're ever passing through Chicago, I used to go to Gold Coast. It's like this little like deli grill type restaurant. It's not really a snack, but they had really good chili cheese fries. Like, those chili cheese fries were to die for, and as a flight attendant on a budget, the fact that they were $7 for airport food that was very filling, fantastic. Snaps all around. Okay, next question asks, what's one thing you miss about the regionals compared to the main line? One thing that I miss, to be honest, is just kind of maintaining a full crew for full sequences. A lot of the times here at Mainline, you don't typically stay with your pilots, and we do kind of like switch around your flight attendants every now and then as well. So I feel like everybody kind of just gets moved around a lot more than they did at the regionals. I did find that at the regionals, we typically would stay together as a crew of four, like through your whole sequence. So typically the pilots wouldn't go anywhere, the flight attendants would all be the same, and you could kind of build that kind of crew rapport over that multi-day travel together, which was really nice because you could make some pretty close friends. I think I made a lot of my closest flight attendant friends at regional, but a lot of that does have to do with me sitting airport standby all the time, and we would all just, do the cute little crew room gossip, all that. So I do miss that. I do also miss kind of like just working shorter flights in general. I do kind of miss that like quick little service flow. Just hop on, do your boarding, quick little flight, do your deplaning, and you're done. Like, everything was so much faster. At mainline, of course, it's bigger planes, it's longer routes. You're gonna take longer for boarding, you're gonna take longer for deplaning, and of course your flights are gonna take longer. But we usually find ways to keep busy during the longer flights anyway, so it doesn't really feel that long, since there's a lot more to do, since we're doing mainline flying. So I actually do enjoy that, but I miss my regional crews. There's just like a lot more crew camaraderie over there. I feel like everybody's a little bit less of a slam clicker and a little bit more of a let's go do something on the layover, because there's only 4 of us, and a lot of the times those layovers on regional were very short. So a lot of the times you would try to make the most out of the time wherever you're going. And for some reason, the crews over there, they all just knew exactly where to go in every single city. There was always at least one person on the crew that was like, oh, I know this great bar. Oh, I know this great tavern. Oh, I know this great like antique shop. And we would all just go all together and have a cute little time. But I mean, I know people do that here at mainland as well, and I'm sure I will start to learn to find my favorite places in these new layover cities. But yeah, that's something that I miss a little bit about regional. So shout out again to my regional girls. Love you guys the most. Looks like I've just got one more question left. Oh, and it's spicy. Oh, I love that. Okay, spicy question. Do you pull trade, or do they not want to come to the airport hotels? Do you stay in airport hotels? I'm so weak. No comment on the trade. We don't really stay in airport hotels. Typically, if you're staying in an airport hotel, it's mainly because you have a shorter layover. Typically, that happens when you fly in like late, and then you have like an early morning or like morning-ish report for the next day. Typically, they'll do that just for places that they don't really have the time in the scheduling for us to drive to a hotel that's further away from the airport. So they'll have us stay at an airport hotel, which is honestly, it's not bad. In our contract, we have to have like a certain minimum of like 3-level star hotels. So even then, they're like decent hotels. This hotel that I'm staying in, very cute, love her the most. It is in downtown in the city that I'm in. A lot of the times, if your layover is typically over like 15-ish hours, I want to say, it's normally in a downtown area or closer to the city that you're going to be staying in. A lot of the times, these airports are super far from the actual city that you're flying to. So sometimes if it's a longer layover, the company does typically try to put us up somewhere downtown, which is nice because everything will be within walking distance, because clearly we don't live there. So we can just walk around or take a scooter, take a bike, take a really cheap Lyft or Uber, and explore on our own time over there. So I think that's definitely one of the draws for the job, and I definitely know that that's something that I love from the job for sure. Okay, well, I think that's all the questions that I had from you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A, and I hope it was somewhat entertaining for you guys to watch and get a little bit of a delve into the life of a flight attendant, especially if you guys are from regional, kind of coming to mainline or thinking about making the switch. I hope this is kind of semi-informational for you, even though I don't really think I answered it maybe in the best ways. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post next, because as we know, my posting schedule is extremely erratic. Here are my socials that are linked up above. Make sure to check me out on Instagram and TikTok. I do post occasionally on my TikTok, mainly just niche flight attendant memes that I want to share with my girls and reach the correct audience. So if that's you, you know who you are. Probably watching this on your layover right now or on airport standby. Go and hit me a follow. You can also check me out on Instagram. I do post a lot more frequently on my stories there, typically of where I'm going and what we're up to, normal debauchery. And if you're nice to me, maybe you can even sneak onto my close friend story. So make sure you hit me up over there on my socials. I will also be posting, trying to attempt like a bi-weekly-ish schedule. I know it kind of fell through the cracks here with April, but moving forward, I do want to attempt a bi-weekly schedule, typically posting on the weekends as I can and have the ability to. So make sure you are subscribed and keep up with me for all of that. And thank you so much for keeping up with me and for dealing with me talking with y'all, even though I'm still a little bit under the weather. I do apologize for the sniffles throughout the video, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!